This massive teepee behind me has been placed to act as an area for survivors to gather during the upcoming papal events. MacEwan University's Indigenous Center has been transformed into a safe space for families and communities to come together.
I can only hope and pray as a survivor myself and as a grandmother now, and as a mother of 4 children, that in some way, in some form, it heals people.
These care packages were assembled by a team of volunteers and will be given to survivors and people facing homelessness.
Our goal is for the survivors who are primarily from Kamloops, British Columbia, and who are primarily from Saskatchewan to feel wrapped in love.
Your heart so you feel beautiful and good things.
Afterwards, appreciation was shown to the volunteers through a ceremonial smudging. There will also be activities for children such as beading and coloring. The Mass at Commonwealth Stadium will be live streamed in on a giant screen for those who'd rather watch it remotely. Sidra Jafri, CBC News, Edmonton. Believe it or not, some of these athletes weren't always as coordinated as they are now. In fact, some of them didn't even know how to play the game. But with the help of the University of Alberta and Alberta Indigenous Games, they are learning all about sportsmanship within their communities. Alberta is now home to many Afghan refugees. Over the past year, the province has hosted 4,100 people who have fled the country.
So maybe this is going to be a surprise to you, but young people are reading, and in some cases, it's actually thanks to social media. It has become quite a network of sharing and connecting, especially on TikTok. So it is aptly called Book Talk. Here's CBC Edmonton's Sidra Jafri with a look at the influence it's having.
Victoria Bradley wasn't always a reader. She discovered the new passion only during her high school days after joining book clubs and then promoting them on social media.
Little babies, come here.
Bradley started sharing her favorites on Instagram, then TikTok.
I know a bunch of amazing people who do book talk, and they're just so kind and so friendly, and it's such a welcoming community, and it's really cool to have that ability to really connect on a visual medium.
What started as a novel idea to relieve pandemic screen fatigue has evolved into a game changer for the book business.
We've noticed that has changed because people are placing book orders and they're asking for certain things. So our stock has definitely changed because of TikTok, and we're trying to anticipate by putting some books on TikTok that are maybe not so popular so they can get some attention too.
Another way for avid readers to access their books is through the library. It's a cost and clutter-free way for them to indulge in their favorite titles, although that can be difficult if their book is being sought after by, say, a few hundred other people.
Reading actually is having a bit of a renaissance.
At the Edmonton Public Library, to get a Colleen Hoover or Emily Henry title, 2 of the most popular on Book Talk, you might be waiting months, but it's worth it if it means being able to be a part of the conversation.
That's really important to young people, I think, to share what they're reading, and you know, they're going through a time in their life where they've got a lot of emotions, and those books tap into that.
Bradley says technology is adding to the reading experience in a lot of different ways.
Some people say that print is dying, but I think that it really isn't, because people still want to have books in their hands, and whether that be on a Kindle or a tablet, they're still going to access them in the way that is most comfortable to them. And I think that Book Talk and Instagram are so helpful in bringing attention to a lot of these books and stories.
Flipping the narrative on how people see and use these social platforms. Sidra Jafri, CBC News, Edmonton.